Shalom, shalom, akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants, the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which would be preached throughout all four corners of this earth and rest upon the ears of the men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And I just wanted to get into a brief lesson speaking to this video that came across my feed with this individual that goes by the name of the Viking Preacher. And as you can imagine, he's spewing madness. The title of his video is "O Israel." He's talking to the small hats. He's talking to those Amalekites, over there in our land. He's not referring to the true Israelites, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He's under he's under the strong delusion of believing that, those small hats are the people, even though they don't fit any curse in the Bible. All right, they don't fit the returning of the land. All right, prophecy. All right, where their immortal bodies. Okay, where's Yahweh Shai? Where's King David? All right, you tell us annually when the nations are going up to Israel to worship, okay? And following behind them as far as following righteousness, being that they would be leading that charge pursuing Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. You see? None of it makes sense. But at the end of the day, it will make sense in the days that are coming when the Messiah returns and he establishes the truth on the planet Earth. Okay, because these lies, this falsehood of a reality, with these gutter rats being the chosen people, it's gonna come to the forefront. That's been the biggest lie. One of the biggest lies, have been them claiming to be us. You see, them claiming to be God's chosen people. That's one of the biggest lies known to man. Okay? And ultimately, when you look at it for what it is, you can clearly see, that these people don't uphold anything that the Bible says. They deny the Messiah. Okay, they deny the Messiah. Okay, they operate under their own counsel via the Talmud. Okay, they're circumcising babies with their mouths, humping walls. They're doing all types of folly. They're covering their head, all right, with those nickel hats, while calling themselves bringing out God's word. They're doing everything opposing. It's clear that they're not the people. If you have any type of understanding when it comes to the scriptures, you can clearly see that that's not them. All right, what they are is imposters. All right, what they are those bastards. Okay, let's go. Let's start with this. They're those bastards that are dwelling in Ashdod. Is who they are. Let's get this real quick. I know it's in Zechariah, if I'm not mistaken. The book of Zechariah, chapter 9 and verse 6, and it reads, "And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod." What's a bastard? A fatherless son. Okay? Hey, these people don't belong to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, they're not married unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and when you tap into Ashdod, okay, Ashdod is a port city, okay, in Israel, which in ancient times was the land of in the land of Philistia. Let me show you here. See, Ashdod, a major port city and one of the largest cities in Israel, located on the Mediterranean coast in the southern district. It is known for its historical significance as a Philistine city, right? You see? And its modern day role as a vital economic and industrial center. So the scriptures is talking to now with this precept right here. Okay, a bastard, a fatherless son shall dwell in Ashdod, man. Okay? Esau, Edom. This is talking to Esau, Edom, the so-called white men in the form of those Amalekites. Right? And I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. So there's a bastard dwelling in our land. Okay? And these people have taken on the responsibility of being the chosen people, but they've dropped the ball and failed miserably. This is why scriptures say this real quick. When you go to the book of Psalms, chapter 50, in verse 16, and it reads, but unto the wicked, all right, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, pursuant to Malachi, the first chapter and the 4th verse, Esau, Edom is coined as the border of wickedness. All right, Amalek is the chief house of Esau. You see, and the least of them, mind you. That's why scripture says, what's that, Jeremiah, the 49th chapter. It's also written in Jeremiah, 50 or 51. The least of the flock shall draw them out. You see? Let's continue on. But unto the wicked power saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? And the least of the flock being Amalek. All right, that's going to draw out who? Babylon. All right, the Western hegemony, Edomite sect. You see? And small has it, and as you can see, what happened over there with them and those Iranians. Hey, didn't Babylon get involved? Yeah, yup. And it calmed down quickly because the prophecies is in control. You see, so it's not time for that third woe yet. It's not time for Russia to intervene yet. But things are definitely boiling up. Okay, let's read this again. Psalms 50 and 16. But unto the wicked power saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? So it's written that these niggas were going to try to take on the responsibility and take on the identity of the chosen people, as we're reading right here. This is what this is talking to. They were gonna not only try to steal their birthright back, but they were also gonna steal our religion, our identity. You see, they were gonna steal our identity, man. Which made us that pretty much put us in the position of the hidden ones, as you can read in Psalms 83. But all that was in efforts to fulfill biblical prophecy. You see, as Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai is written, he's declared the end from the beginning. So it's written that these niggas were going to try to steal our identity, man. We're reading it right here. Look, let's read it again, and we'll read a little further down. Psalms 50 and 16 and 17, and it reads, but unto the wicked, let's blow it up. But unto the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, Malachi 1 and 4, power saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee? You see? So they haven't upheld these precepts and commandments. No, they've disregarded them. They've turned they put them behind them, and they concocted their own rules and regulations in form of doctrine and counsel. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the Talmud. You see, they're imposters. This is why when you get here, we're gonna play that clip and we're gonna go through it through the spirit. But I just want to build the foundation before we get into it, so you Akiyam and Akwaf that may be new, you can see through the folly that this individual is speaking. If this falls on new, fresh, baby ears, that comes across this video, through the spirit. Let's go here. When you go to the book of I want to say that's the book of Sirach, the 3rd chapter. I'm sorry, 2nd Esdras. Second Ezra, the 3rd chapter. In verse 36, and it reads, Thou shalt find that Israel by name have kept thy precepts. Why Israel by name? Because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai surnamed us. He put his name on us, man. We're married unto him. See? Why do you think the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, not only did they suffer the same plight, but in contrast to these other nations, in comparison to these other nations, none of them can relate. None of them have a testimony, a history, okay? A build-up of events proving that they're the chosen people in the Bible. No other nation lines up with prophecy like the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans do. Why? Because no other nation is surnamed, okay, by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. He's not dealing with them. You see, these curses that we suffer is proof. It's evidence that we're them. Okay? And in due time, it's going to be well known that that's the case when the salvation takes place. You see? But anyways, let's continue on. Let's read this again. 2nd Ezra 3 and 36. Thou shalt find that Israel by name have kept thy precepts, man. And the precept goes into a commandment, which the commandments were only given to Israel. Okay? The commandments were only given to Israel. The covenant that was made by blood sacrifice in Exodus, the 24th chapter, was only with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and the 12 tribes of Israel. That's another question. Where are the other 10 tribes? Because the last I heard, these niggas over there in our land subscribe either by Judah or Levi, as they call them, which is Levi. Okay? The last I heard, they subscribe to Judah or Levi. So what are we doing? Where are the other 10 tribes? Where are they at? Where'd they go? That's another question to be raised. You see? Which would bring no answers. Okay? Which will bring no answers. Because they're a fraud. That's why. But let's continue on. But not the heathen, man. Let's read it one more time, man. 2nd Ezra 3 and 36. Thou shalt find that Israel by name have kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. Okay? The heathen have not kept the Lord's precepts, his commandments, his laws, and his statutes. All right? Nor do they know him. They don't know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, that's why they call on God and Jesus Christ, like you're going to hear this clown do. And the phone chimed in. You see? Because the name of the Lord is dreadful to the heathen, man. They can't say it. He won't allow them to. But let's listen to this clown. You know, when I sent this video to the brothers over here in the camp, I told them to check out this big dummy. Because that's exactly what he is, man. But at the end of the day, he can't help it, you know? Now, could he be an Israelite? Could he be a speckled bird? He could be. He very well could be. Could he wake up later? Yup. Highly likely. It's possible. You know? Anything's possible with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You know? But we're going to just call it what it is. You know, at this point in time, he's in error. He's erring in the spirit. You know? Nor can he be corrected at this point based off his stance. You Akiyam and Akwaf are going to hear. All right? He's stern in his error. Locked in. He think he right. He think he know what he's talking about. But it is what it is. Let's play this clip.
Hey guys.
And I'm going to commentary this clip. We're going to make it short and sweet though. It's a quick video. But I am going to commentary it through the spirit. I'm going to be on my elder apostle Tahar. Let's go.
Midweek love is coming out of Romans chapter 11 verses 1 and half of verse 2. Probably going to offend some people, which is okay. I'm not afraid to do that. But this is something that needs to be said. Verse 1 says, I asked, then, has God rejected his own people? the nation of Israel. Of course not. I myself an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham, and a member of the tribe of Benjamin. No, God has not rejected his own people, whom he chose from the very beginning. There it is right there, folks. In the Word of God, God has not rejected Israel. God has not replaced Israel. He still has a plan for Israel. If you read further along in this chapter, you see that because of their stubbornness and blindness, salvation became available to the Gentiles, to you and me, those who are not.
And as you can see, he's under the false illusion that the Gentiles consist of the heathen, which in reality the Gentiles consist of the strangers, all right, the Israelite foreigners is who the Gentiles are. You see, when you tap into circular history, all right, in between Malachi and Matthew, all right, you have the Apocrypha, all right, which testifies to the Greek captivity, which hones in on those Hellenized Jews, all right, that were being held captive, all right, during the Greek captivity. You see? And when you're tapping into the New Testament, all right, all those Roman provinces were past Greek provinces, man. All right, you got Jake all up through there, that subscribe to the Greek fashion. You see, the heathen were never in the equation. But this is something you wouldn't know because you don't study. You see, you're missing a whole chunk of history, which isn't allowing you to see the reality, all right, behind Romans 11, behind John 3:16, behind Galatians 3. You can't see it because you're missing a big chunk of history. Okay, let me get this real quick. When you go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, real quick, right? You heathen are going to be a possession, okay, in the kingdom. You're not taking part in no glory of the covenant. You're not taking part in no promises. You see? You're not in the inner circle like that. You're gonna be a possession in the kingdom. You see? Isaiah 4, and we're gonna prove it. Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. Why? Because it's all about Israel. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Point blank, period. Let's read it one more time. For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob. And that's starting with the elect. That starts with the elect. And will yet choose Israel because all Israel should be saved, like it reads in Romans 11. And when you read that, after you read the parable of the grafting in, it makes all the sense of the world. That all those grafted in branches that were broken off, that's all Israelites. When you clearly can read in Romans 11, matter of fact, let's stop right there and let's go there real quick. Let's go to the moral of the story in Romans 11. When you go to Romans 11, real quick, when you go to the moral of the story, verse 26. In verse 26, it reads, and so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, which is Yahushai, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Because it's all about Israel. It's all about Jacob. You see, in the phone chime there, man, these branches that were grafted back in, it is talking about the Israelites. The branch that was cut off is talking about Israel. You see, it has nothing to do with you heathen. They were cut off because of unbelief. You see? In efforts for prophecy to be fulfilled. For the Lord's movie to play out. Let's go back to Isaiah 14 and read it again. For the Lord Yahweh, Isaiah 14:1, will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. Because all Israel should be saved, as we just read. upon the deliverer coming out of Zion, which is Yahushai, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them. The strangers, that's talking about who? The Israelite foreigners, which we were once strangers, man. As we were growing up as renegades in Babylon the Great. Look, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. You see that? And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, man. Look it. And the people who? Israel and the strangers. You see? The people shall take them. Who? The heathen. And bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord Yahweh for servants and handmaids, man. This is the lot that you heathen are going to fulfill. Servants and handmaids. Let's prove it. Real quick, we're going to, I'll jump back over here and finish this out. Matter of fact, let me read a little bit more. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. Right. That's why when you go here, when you jump to, is that Psalms 2 and 8? The book of Psalms chapter 2 and verse 8, and it reads, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. You see? And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. You heathen are going to be an inheritance. You're part of the blessing we're going to receive in the kingdom. Because to be truly blessed is to have slaves. You see? A prince is worthless without a multitude of people, as it tells us in Proverbs. You heathen are going to be a possession. You're an inheritance. You're part of the blessing. Matter of fact, let's prove it. When you go to Leviticus, and I'm just flowing through the Spirit. When you go to Leviticus 25, I believe it's right around let me see here. I know I'm right on top of it. Let me see here. Is it here? Both bondmen, bondmaid. Oh, there it goes. Kala Yahabashim Yahushai. The book of Leviticus, chapter 25, and verse 44, and it reads, both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen. See, that around about you of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. You see, this is going to be your lot in the kingdom. Okay, you're not no Gentiles that have been grafted in pursuing the Romans 11. No. All that's just a figment of your imagination, my boy. That's not the reality of this thing. Okay, you heathen are not taking part of the second covenant. And as a matter of fact, let's prove that real quick and we'll jump back into this video. Real quick. And we're going to get it in the New Testament. Let's go to Hebrews 8 real quick. You're not taking part of the new covenant, man. You weren't part of the first one. The book of Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 8, and it reads, for finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with who? With the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. All 12 tribes, no other nation named. Why? Because the nations are not involved in this family reunion. Okay? Yeah, we're gonna be saved by grace and by race. Okay? Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continue not in my covenant. And I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. Okay? This is the reality of this thing. All right, let's continue on in this clip.
Jewish by descent. This chapter, you see that because of their stubbornness and blindness, salvation became available to the Gentiles, to you and me, those who are not Jewish by descent. But nowhere in the Bible does it say that God has a...
And there's no such thing as Jewish. All right, Jewish, that means just that's pertaining to. Okay, it's Jew. All right, which is short for Judah. All right, which can be likened unto Judah the tribe, or Benjamin and Levi as well via the southern kingdom as a whole. Let's continue on.
Abandoned or rejected or replaced his people. He still has a plan for them.
That's right, and it's to beat you heathens' ass in the kingdom to come. Okay?
There's things still left to be done through the nation of Israel. God has always maintained a remnant of his own people, and he always will. We can even look into the end times in Revelation, where there's going to be 144,000 that will cry out to the Lord, that will proclaim the Lord, that will proclaim Jesus Christ as...
And he going crazy with that one. Yeah, and those 144 will be who? The servants of the Lord, which is the priests. Okay, which are made up of who? Let's go get it. You see how these wacky-tacky, bugged-out Christians always put their whole foot in their mouth? The book of Revelation, chapter 7. Because now we got to go to it and read it and see who those 144 are that's going to do that. All right? Revelation 7 and 1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, which is talking to that destruction via ICBM missile touchdown, right? That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any trees, right? Because those missiles, when they touch down, they're going to cause a destroying wind, right? A bosom of destruction, right? And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads, man. And that seal consists of the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man, of the will of the Lord. Okay? And its perfection. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000. And to all the tribes of the children of Israel. Let's read that one more time. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel, again, which are the servants, which are the men. Remember, Yahushua said what? The flock of my pastor are men. Okay? So this would be the regime. All right? Well, this would be a part of the regime. That 144. Okay? To come. Because we know it consists of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, King David, the 12 disciples, and the 144, man. You see? The governing body. Okay? And he's trying to liken this unto only talking to that remnant. No, man. Nigga, are you crazy? That great multitude, you read about, when you read 2nd Ezra, the 2nd chapter, that multitude that couldn't be numbered, those were all Israelites. All right, during that crowning ceremony, man. You think a heathen's going to get crowned, man? Come on, man. Let's read this real quick before we continue on with this dude. The book of Amos, chapter 3, in verse 1, and it reads, hear this word that the Lord Yahweh has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities, man. Okay? The only family that has been known through the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is the children of Israel. Point blank, period. See? Let's go back.
Lord, that will cry out to the Lord, that will proclaim the Lord, claim Jesus Christ as Lord.
And that ain't the case, because the letter J didn't come into existence until 1524. All right, Jesus Christ is Greek. Jesus means earth pig. Yahweh Shai was a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah, pursuing the Hebrew 7. All right, so it's impossible. When you read Acts 26, what's it tell us? Upon Saul, right, which his name was changed to Apostle Paul, upon him falling off that horse on his way to Damascus, what did he hear? In what language did he hear it in? Let's go to it. This is the book of Acts 26 in verse 14, and it reads, "And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks, man." Right? And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am. And it says here, it says Jesus, but that's impossible. Right? Who thou persecutest, because you can't translate Yahweh Shai into no Greek Jesus. And this is Greek. So it's impossible that he said that, because he heard it in what? The Hebrew tongue. See? Come on, man. This is the reality. See, Kahalayim La Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. We have the understanding, Akiyam and Akwaf. We're truly in a blessed position. All right, let's get this too. The book of Sirach. Hey, who's on the highways and byways proclaiming the true name of the Lord and his only begotten Son? You guessed it. Let's read it. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 17, and verse 10, and it reads, "And the elect, the Lord willing, we're part of that precious number, shall praise his holy name." His name is holy, separate, consecrated. Okay? Jesus Christ is not holy, separate, consecrated. Okay? That name is has been being said since Esau's inception. All right? Via the Renaissance period. And all that came out of that was persecution of us so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that's being ripped apart, fed to dogs, and burnt at the stake. So you can go fuck yourself with that Jesus Christ character. Okay? Because that's a joke. One of the slave ships was named Great Jesus or whatever it was. I believe it was Great Jesus, something like that. You Akiyam and Akwaf know what I'm talking about. You can put it in the comment in the description box. I believe it was the Great Jesus or something. I believe the Portuguese had it. Come on, man. So miss me with that JC. Anyways.
Now, I'm not saying that we have to agree with every political decision that the nation, modern day nation of Israel does, but I am saying we need to pray for them, we need to support them, we need to protect them.
Uh-oh. That's an error in prophecy. Because when you go to the book of Psalms, chapter 83, what's it tell us? Let's go read it. The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1, and it reads, "A song or psalm of Asaph, keep not thou silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult," which is a loud noise, right? "And they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people." And them stealing our identity is part of that crafty counsel. You see? "And consulted against thine hidden ones," man, which is our so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. We're coined as the hidden ones. And it's the works of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. You see? It's the works of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Esau is just a character in the movie that's been given the role to persecute us. You see? But look it. "They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance," man. And this is talking to the true name of Israel, Yasha Allah. Okay? Which we come under the true name of our Father and heavenly and only begotten Son, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. They want to cut that off, man. They be no more in remembrance, but they're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to, man. They've been trying for forever. They've been trying forever, man. But the Holy Spirit is something they can't stop. You see? Look it. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against these. See? So these nations have come together to come up against the true people of the Bible. All right, we've been spiritually and physically jumped by the nations, man. But guess what? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to vindicate us. Let's get some more of this lying bastard.
That is our duty as fellow heirs and children of God. We've been adopted. We've been grafted in. We cannot allow pride to come up and say that, oh, we have clung on to Jesus Christ and we are better than you. And we can have pride in that. No. Pride always comes before the fall. So don't for a second think that God has replaced Israel with the church. He has grafted the church into his people. And don't think that God has abandoned Israel. These voices out here saying that the modern day Israel is not the same as the Old Testament Israel, that's a lie. There is a reason why there is a piece, a parcel of land the size...
You're a liar. You're a liar right along with them. And we proved it time and time again every time you open your mouth. We're going to prove it again. Let him continue to speak.
Rhode Island, that then Israel is not the same as the Old Testament Israel, that's a lie. There is a reason why there is a piece, a parcel of land the size of Rhode Island that the entire world has fought over for 5,000 years.
Right, because that land is truly the Holy Land. That's truly the Holy Land. It's the mother of us all, man. Pursuing the Galatians. When you go to Galatians, let me get this real quick. Is that, let me see, that's Galatians 6 or Galatians 4 and 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. And this is the land that they've stole. Okay? This damn bastard has stole this land from us, and now he's on the cut talking about aha. Okay? As it tells us here. When you go to the book of Ezekiel, I believe it's Ezekiel 34. Nah, it's 35. No, you know what? It's 36. Forgive me. Am I overlooking it? Bear with me, Akim and Akwaf. You know, I'll put this. I believe it's around here somewhere. I know it's in Joel. Ezekiel 36. I look right over it. Salakia, Akim and Akwaf. Right? Check this out. Ezekiel 36. Right? And mind you, this is talking to Esau. Yeah, let's go here. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36 and verse 1, and it reads, Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, Ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because the enemy hath said against you, Aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. You see? Okay, this is what they're sitting up over there doing. They're boasting in the idea that they have our land. And they know we can't get it back unless the Lord fights for us to get it. I'm going to jump down to verse 5, right? Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which is from Amalek down to the least Edomite. Okay? Genesis 36, he's talking to the whole house, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. You see, this is what they've done. All right, this is what when you read the book of Luke, it tells us it's being what? It's being trodden down. Okay? It's being trodden down by the heathen. And the Yahweh Shai spoke this. Luke 21 and 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. And this is going into 70 AD. Okay? And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, man, the natural Gentiles, the heathen, right? Until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, man. All right, we're coming into that climax, man. We're coming into that time where these heathen are going to be evicted off of our land. Okay? And this is the reality of the story. The people you see over there right now are imposters, man. Trotting down our land. Okay? Yahweh Shai is going to vindicate us, though, as we can read in Ezekiel 36. It goes into it. Look it. And guess what? He's going to use Russia to do it. When you read Ezekiel 38 and 39, it taps into it. You see? Russia's going to hit them up with missiles, too. Look it.
That's not by chance, and it's not by greed. There's a reason why the Jewish people, 1% of the world's population, is the most well-known people in the world. And at times, some of the most well-hated people in the world.
It's because what the Balaam prophesied? Balaam prophesied that, let's go get this real quick. I believe that's Numbers. Numbers 24. Nope. Oh, let me see here. Yeah, there it goes. Numbers 24, right to the point in verse 20, and it reads this, right? That Balaam seen this vision, right? Talking to Amalek. Look at, and when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said Amalek was the first of the nations. Okay? Amalek was the first of the nations under two circumstances. Number one, they were the first to attack us on our way out of Egypt. That's why Yahweh, through Moses, said to what? Remember Amalek, what he did by the way. Okay? And Amalek is the first to rule from sea to shining sea. Okay? Through Amalek, these international banking families, they rule the earth. All right? All four corners of the earth, man. They have control over all the resources, right? They're living out their blessing, pursuant to Genesis 27. You see? They're the first to rule all four corners of the planet. Okay, but guess what? But his latter end shall be that he perish forever. This is the end of these niggas, man. This is the reality of these people. Okay? And when prophecy fulfills itself, you people's teeth are going to get knocked down your throat. Don't really got to play much more of this dude's clip. That's pretty much the point. As you can see, he's not studied at all. You know, he's standing on a foundation that has no stability at all. He's calling on JC. He has no understanding. And he's pretty much under a spell. He's under a spell as the majority of the people on this earth. All right, Jake included. You know, Jake is some of the worst because they're suffering from Stockholm Syndrome in conjunction with the spell of Christianity. Let's close out with this. I think this is what I want right here. Let's go right here. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 68. The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 28, and it reads, As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. Shalom.